We doing, everybody, and welcome to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is Monday, a fantastic Monday here in the great state of Wisconsin. The weather's supposed to be getting better this week. They're telling me we're talking 50s, up in the 50s over the week here, so fantastic stuff. A little bit of rain here and there, but other than that, fantastic stuff here in the great state of Wisconsin. Lots of stuff happening over the weekend, right? We had the women's bracket that came to an end, and I mean, hats off to Iowa. I mean, South they ran through. I mean, if you can argue it, but they ran through the toughest part of that bracket, right? Elite Eight matchup with LSU, the rematch of the national championship game, and then in the Final Four, they ran into Paige Beckers and UConn, and it took a controversial, which I believe it was foul. Now, it wasn't called at times throughout the game. I get that argument. I saw the argument of you can't call that in that situation. Now, you have to take that and leave it, because if your team got fouled, say Paige Beckers was driving to the basket and got fouled, and it was a controversial should it have been called or not, guess what you're telling me today, UConn fans? Exactly. So when I look at a situation like that, it's like, okay, but then when's the right time to call that, right? Is the ref just supposed to swallow the whistle when there's 30 seconds left in a game and don't call shooting fouls, don't call anything blatant? Like, yeah, I don't get that argument. I hate that argument out of anybody. You know, I saw some of the bigger names out there. I mean, I saw like Jay Williams was talking about it, and different guys like that, and I'm like, okay, I get your argument, but at the same time, it's like, you have to make the calls when they're there, right? The refs are paid to make calls throughout a game. Now, I believed watching that was 100% a foul, because in real time, if you watched it in real time, it didn't look bad. But when you watched it on the replay, when they slowed it down, you saw the moving screen, you saw the chicken elbow, you saw everything that they called on that play. So yes, it is a foul. Now, you could make the argument, you call it there. You have to. If you're a referee, you might have missed a call here and there throughout a game. I mean, what referee doesn't? But at the same time, it's like, you got to make the calls. And that was a call that you didn't like it, but it's the right call. I truthfully believe it was the right call. So, I mean, you might not agree with me. You might think the opposite, and that's okay. That's okay. That's a great part about sports, is there's always controversy at the end of every season, at the end of every game, end of a half, end of a quarter, end of a play. There's always controversy. So that's a great part. The great part about sports is there's always something to argue about, and you knew there had to be something there. But, I mean, Iowa got through, UConn got through LSU, then came South Carolina. And this team, I tell you what, South Carolina was, they were going to overmatch anybody, right? I mean, you could have put them against LSU. You could have put them against UConn. I don't care who it was. This South Carolina team, I mean, their leading scorer came off the bench. That's the crazy part, right? You can go that deep on your bench and still get that great of scoring. And then you have the interior player of Cardosa in there, and she was fantastic in that game, rebounding the basketball. I mean, South Carolina was a tough draw. And after having to play the gauntlet schedule that they did just to get to that point, it was going to take a masterpiece. I mean, a masterpiece out of Iowa to be able to pull out another one. And, well, came short in that one. That was a good game. I mean, the final score didn't really dictate what the game actually felt like, because Iowa put on runs. They just couldn't get it back to within, 4 at times. I thought they had it down to 6 a couple times, and then South Carolina had the answer. So it was always the answer, and Iowa did lose that game, but hats off, another fantastic tournament, not just by Caitlin Clark. And you know, she is a big reason why women's basketball got put back on the map. But when people started to watch the game, they started to really, see the players for what they were. Juju Watkins and having Paige Beckers, Cardosa, LSU players, Angel Reese. I mean, you saw some of these different athletes throughout there, and you might have went in only watching Caitlin Clark, but you came out of there with a different kind of respect for women's basketball, and I thought that was the great thing coming out of this year's tournament. And, Juju Watkins, she was USC was eliminated there, but I mean, she's coming back next year. A fantastic scorer. Potentially could be another one of those Caitlin Clark kind of scorers there for USC. So big things coming for women's basketball. That is 100% the truth there. And, I hate the amount of banter that Caitlin Clark got throughout the tournament by some of these celebrities and everything like that. It's like, okay, like I saw some, oh, when you get to the next level, you're not going to play like this because, you're going to be going up against women that have been in the league for a while and you're not going to be going against 18-year-olds. I got to tell you this. I mean, the WNBA it's a different kind of league than college. I will give you that, but it's not as big of a step as what I believe the men's college basketball to the NBA is. It's not as big of a step. And will Caitlin Clark right away adjust? I think she'll be fine. I really do. I mean, I think she's got the skill set to take over the WNBA at some point there. You put her with a little bit better of scorers on that team. I mean, Iowa had decent scorers, but you look at them. I mean, Martin did well. Marshall was okay throughout the tournament there. Stuelke played well against UConn, but, going up against a team like South Carolina with the bigs that they had, struggled in that aspect. So, I mean, you just look at the different play styles on that team. Maybe going up, she's going to have Aaliyah Boston probably on her team there. So that might help her game even more to be able to get open. There's so much pressure on her throughout the tournament here because if she didn't have a good game, it wasn't looking good, right? And when she was hitting shots, when she was rolling along, right, Iowa looked fantastic. That's the big difference there when I really look at it. So, I mean, for all the haters out there, I mean, I don't want to sound like a fangirl in the moment, right? You don't want to sound like a fangirl talking about her, but I wasn't for it. I mean, I'm listening to all these people talking about her, and they're all like, a rude awakening's coming and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, enough's enough. I get it, but you cannot take away from what she did in her college career there. And I know they are already because I saw a article. Lynette Woodard said that Caitlin Clark did not break the all-time scoring record in major women's basketball. She basically came out and she's talking about it. And she goes, I am the hidden figure, but no longer now. My record was hidden from everyone for 43 years. I don't think I'll just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I don't think my record has been broken because you can't duplicate what you're not duplicating. So unless you come with a men's basketball and a 2-point shot, but just for you so you can understand, so you can help me spread that word. Basically what she said. So playing back in the day, different rules, no 3-point line. I mean, that's going to really... she competed under the AIAW rules there when she was playing. Therefore, it's not official to the NCAA. So Caitlin Clark sent an NCAA record, but the NCAA doesn't look at her record. So it's just more controversy on top of it there. But, to me, it really isn't about the record that she set, right? It was fantastic, right? The amount of records that she broke, people were tuning in to watch those. It was crazy. I mean, you can't really say, okay, she beat Pistol Pete's record there, but no 3-point line for him, right? And, freshmen didn't start, that kind of thing. Yes, all those things stand true. But the difference maker for me was that Caitlin Clark got people to tune in to women's college basketball. And that's the good thing. Because she got them to tune in, and then they realized how great it can be, right? Some of the fantastic games, right? Because I didn't just tune in to watch Caitlin Clark and LSU. I tuned into the game before that, in the Final Four. I did not just watch UConn take on Iowa. I watched the game of South Carolina taking on NC State. Like, it was those kind of the things that she did for the game. And I think that's the big thing to take away from her career at Iowa. Not the stats, not everything else. The big thing I take away is how many people actually tuned in to watch women's college basketball, and it put them on a pedestal where they haven't been in a very long time. So, I mean, hats off to South Carolina, a fantastic season, a perfect season, right? That's hard to beat right there. And hats off to Iowa, UConn, and NC State for fantastic years. They're getting to the Final Four. Great stuff all the way around there in that women's bracket. But looking over at the men's bracket for a second here, we kind of saw what we imagined, right? We thought, I mean, I went into this and I said UConn and Alabama was going to be a good game. It ended up as a 14-point game, but that final score, like I said before about the South Carolina and Iowa game, that final score of UConn and Alabama did not, by any means, really say what the game was. Because that game by Alabama, they played fantastic. I thought they played fantastic in that game. 44-40 at the half. UConn they just poured it on late. They were hitting shots late, and Alabama was chucking up shots trying to stay with it, and that really made the lead look different there. But, a fantastic game there by UConn and Alabama. And then the game before it, Purdue and NC State. Sadly, we saw the career at NC State of DJ Burns come to an end. A fantastic game by NC State there. They just did not have the answer for Zach Edey and this Purdue team. And we knew it was going to happen. The size of Edey was going to take over, and I thought Burns did well early in that game, but there was a lack of foul calls all the way around in that one. I know I tuned in. We were out and about. We were down in La Crosse for my sister's softball game. She plays for Viterbo down there, and we were watching that game there. And then it ran a little bit late. This game came on, and I was watching a little bit there. And you tuned in, and it was like NC State's got 3 fouls, Purdue's got no fouls, and there's like 6 to go in the first half. And I'm like, holy cats! Like, we're used to seeing Purdue get called for nothing, but the opposite teams usually got 6 or 7. No, NC State was playing a pretty clean game, and they were hanging around down to 8 at times. They were in the game, and then Purdue was they just pulled away. They pulled away, and NC State did not have the shot makers in that game. A low-scoring game in that one there, 63-50. But all in all, a fantastic season out of NC State and Alabama. This Alabama team played fantastic. They went through a tough stretch to get to the Final Four. You're talking about an Alabama team who had to go through North Carolina, a very hot Clemson team coming off a win against Arizona, and then getting to that Final Four, playing, if it isn't UConn, I don't know who it is, the toughest draw you could get in a Final Four. Honestly, if Alabama would have came through the other side and they would have made it to the national championship, play UConn, that would have been a fantastic championship game too. I said it. UConn and Alabama could be the best game in the tournament. I don't think that it was, but I believe it was a heck of a game there. And then we had, like I said, Purdue getting through the other side. So that sets up a fantastic championship game coming up tonight. For the first time this year, I believe Zach Edey is going to be tested because Klingon from UConn is a fantastic big, a versatile big, and he's going to be able to get after Zach Edey and really, kind of control what a lot of teams couldn't with Zach Edey. So that's going to be some good stuff there. UConn and Purdue coming up tonight here, the championship game for the men's bracket. We're at the end. We're at the end, folks, of the of March Madness, and it's a kind of, I don't know, is it what we expected? I don't know. I had Tennessee and UConn in the national championship. I didn't get what I wanted, but this is kind of where it seemed like these two teams were destined to see each other at some point, right? Zach Edey, another Player of the Year award, and then you had UConn, the number 1 team in all the land. Been that way since last season, and you kind of just expected to see these two you expected to see these two square off at some point in some way. And here we go. A battle of two powerhouses coming up here tonight in the national championship game. But with that, before we get into a little bit more today, I want to get to a couple of our sponsors here quick. First, Game Day Supply in Onalaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Onalaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin. Also, Marshfield Motor Speedway is located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. Stop in there this summer. You got to get down there. Some fantastic family fun down there at the track. Check out the schedule there on Facebook or online. Just search Marshfield Motor Speedways, and you got to get down there to the track here. There's some fantastic stuff already on the schedule, and you got to get down there for some great family fun. So with that, we got to get into the Brewers weekend slate that they had against the Mariners. A fantastic series win there for the Brewers. They got the 2-1 series win over the Brewers. I just want to look at the games here, kind of look at the boxes and see what we saw coming out of the weekend there. So on Friday, the Brewers won that one 6-5. They used a second inning. This is what we hope to see at some point out of the Brewers. And that was a all-around, all-game kind of effort, right? Because we've seen the Brewers in the past where they aren't able to, they put up runs early and then the bats go quiet. This game, I mean, you put up 2 in the second there, then you got 1 in the fourth, the sixth, you added 1 in the eighth, then you had the walk-off there in the ninth there, the walk-off walk by Contreras. I think, I love that about the Brewers, is that being able to produce runs throughout a game, not that one inning stuff that we were so prone to seeing there. I think that's good stuff out of the Brewers there. So 6-5 was the final. The Brewers got, they actually tied in hits in that game. 8-8 in hits with the Mariners in that one. Looking at the box from that game there, Churro led off. He went 0 for 5. Contreras and Yelich both went 1 for 4, both with an RBI. Looking at Willie Adames, 2 for 3 on the game there with an RBI and a walk. We saw Oliver Dunn, another fantastic performance out of Oliver Dunn, this time in the DH role. 2 for 4 in there with 2 RBIs. Fantastic night for Oliver Dunn. Frelick went 1 for 3 for the Brewers in that one. Ortiz started there at third base, 1 for 2. And then we saw Terang at the bottom of the order starting to cool off. Terang is 0 for 3 in that one. Not what we want to see. Terang's been playing well to start the season here. So that's good stuff out of the Brewers there. Freddie Peralta got the start for the Brewers. 5 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. Solid night out of Freddie Peralta. Then we saw Hudson come in, and I mean, Hudson's pitched well for the Brewers here in this young season. An inning and a third, 1 strikeout, zeros across the board otherwise. Then we saw Elvis Paguero for an inning there, 1 hit and 2 strikeouts. Abner Uribe, he got the win in that one. 1 inning, 2 earned runs there for Abner on a walk and 3 hits. So a little bit of struggle out of Abner in that one. But other than that, Abner pitched well, got the Brewers out of a jam there, and got them to that bottom of the ninth where they ended up winning it there, 6-5. So for the Mariners in that one, Munoz took the loss for them. I mean, third of an inning there, he gave up that walk. 4 walks in the inning there, and he gave up that walk to score the winning run. We saw Gilbert start it for him, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts for Gilbert. Bolton then came in for an inning and a third, and Stanek came in there for an inning for the Mariners. So good stuff out of the Brewers there in Game 1 of the series. Game 2 spelled trouble for the Brewers and spelled trouble for the Brewers pitching staff. The Mariners won that one 5-3. A big 3-run third inning for the Mariners is what really was the difference in this one. Looking outside of the 8th and the 9th there, the Brewers were able to rally late in this one. Bottom of the 8th, they added 3 runs there, made it a 4-3 game, and then a home run in the 9th set the Mariners apart there, and that was it for the Brewers. Looking at the stats for the Brewers in that one, Frelick led off 0 for 4. We talked about it. Not a good spot for Frelick. I don't know what it is about the leadoff spot, but that's not for him. He doesn't like it. I don't know what it is. You put him down there in that 5-6 hole, the guy's 500 hitter. You put him up at the top, and the guy can't figure it out. So Frelick leads off in that one 0 for 4. Contreras 2 for 3. Adames 1 for 3. Yelich 0 for 3 on the game there. Dunn 0 for 2. Bowers 0 for 3. Brewers are basically shut down in this game. 1 for 4 for Terang and 1 for 4 for Churro in that one. DL Hall got roughed up a little bit here. 5 1/3, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts for DL. Worked himself out of trouble, though. I mean, 3 earned runs in an outing for a starter there. Not terrible. Not terrible. DL Hall gets a little roughed up there, but is able to work around a lot of runners there. Bryce Wilson, 2 2/3 inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts for him, and a home run given up. Bryce Wilson's prone to the home run ball right now, so that's something to keep an eye on for you if you are a Brewer fan out there. Hobie Milner, 2/3 of an inning, 1 earned run on a hit, and a home run given up there. And J.B. Butkus ended up finishing out there, 1/3 of an inning, 1 strikeout for Butkus there. So that was good stuff out of the Brewers. For the Mariners in that one, Julio Rodriguez got going 2 for 5 there. Hanger had 2 for 3 night for him. Looking at the mound, Miller went 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts for the Mariners in that one. And Munoz bounced back big time in that one. He got the save. 1 inning and 1 strikeout for him in the save for the Mariners. So that was game 2. That led us into the rubber match on Sunday, and I guess the Brewers were a little ticked off after that. A little bit of an offensive you'd like to call it, they put the fire extinguisher onto the Brewers offense in game 2, because then in game 3, the Brewers said, here's some gasoline. Let's mix her up here. Because the Brewers go off in game 3 there. 14 hits for the Brewers in that one compared to 8 for the Mariners. They had a big first inning, 3 runs in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the fourth inning, and 2 in the eighth. That was the big separator for the Brewers in that one. Contreras, couple of home runs there in that game for Contreras, and that was your big difference maker in this game. 4 for 5, 5 RBIs in that one. Oliver Dunn continues to hit. Maybe he's the leadoff hitter the Brewers are looking for. 2 for 4 in this one in the leadoff spot. 1 RBI and a strikeout, but a solid day out of Oliver Dunn. Willy Adames 1 for 5 in that one. Willie's been, putting together a solid start to the season right now. Hitting 300, 1 for 5 in this one with an RBI. Solid day out of Willy Adames. Bowers, 2 for 5 in this one. Hoskins, 0 for 3. Frelick, you move him down the lineup. Here he is, 2 for 4 in this one with 2 RBIs. Leave him in the bottom of the lineup. Churro, 1 for 3, and Terang, 1 for 2 in this one. Perkins did start in center, 1 for 4. Yelich got the day off in this one here. Colin Ray, fantastic outing out of Colin Ray. 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts for Colin Ray. Fantastic second appearance for Colin Ray in this one. And then Vieira ended up coming in and getting the save in this one. 3 innings, 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and a home run given up for Vieira. So solid day all the way around for the Brew Crew. 12-4, the final in the finale there against the Mariners. So good stuff there out of the Brewers. That sets up a massive 4-game series here with the Reds before they head to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. Big road trip here for the Brewers here against the Reds and Baltimore. 2 very good teams there in the NL Central and then in the AL East. So good stuff there with Brewers. Coming out of the weekend here, just wanted to look at the standings, but I am going to we'll look at the standings here when we come back. I'm going to get to a couple more of our sponsors here quick before we move on. First, your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy, Sue, or Anna to find your dream home, or if you're looking to sell, find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield. Also, Sports Scene in Marshfield. Sports Scene, sports cards and memorabilia. Stop in there in the Marshfield Mall and see Al. He's got everything you need, from sports cards to memorabilia to jerseys, model stock cars, everything you need. Sports Scene in Marshfield, Wisconsin, and Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. Stop in there. They got everything. All right, stop in there to see Chad. If you've been injured recently, whether at work, whether on the court, whether on the field, whatever it is, and you need some physical therapy, stop in there at Sport and Spine Clinic. Chad will get you right. He'll get you back to work, back on the field, back on the court, whatever it is. Check them out there, Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. But with that, I want to get into the MLB standings before we get a little bit on here. First, looking at the NL Central. The Pirates are hot. 8-2 to start this young season are the Pirates. They're coming off a big series win there against Baltimore. They're going to be taking on Detroit coming up here this next week. The Brewers coming in second at 6-2 right now, followed by the Cubs 6-3, the Reds at 5-4, and the Cardinals at 5-5. Looking at the NL East right now, we got the Braves at 6-2. They had bad news come out of there, seeing that Spencer Strider might end up getting Tommy Johns. We're uncertain yet on that. So Braves still on top, though, 6-2 on the year. Phillies 4-5, Mets 3-6. Then we have the Nationals and the Marlins bringing it back 3-6 and 1-9 respectively right now. The Dodgers coming in first in the NL West right now, 8-4 overall, followed by the Padres at 5-7. Then we have the Arizona Diamondbacks at 4-6. The Giants at 4-6, and the Colorado Rockies at 2-8 on the season. Yankees are up top of the AL East right now, 8-2, followed by the Boston Red Sox, 7-3. Baltimore Orioles at 5-4. The Tampa Bay Rays coming in at 5-5, and the Toronto Blue Jays at 4-6. We have the Cleveland Guardians coming in 7-2 in the AL Central, followed by The Detroit Tigers at 6-3. The Kansas City Royals 6-4 right now. The Twins and the White Sox bringing up the back there right now, 3-4, and then 1-8 for the White Sox right now. The AL West, we have the Rangers up top 6-3, the Angels at 5-4, the Mariners at 4-6, the Houston Astros at 3-7, and the Oakland A's. 3 wins on the season already for them Oakland A's. They've won 2 in a row right now. Going into the series against the Rangers there, they're 3-7 in this young season. So good stuff there coming out of the MLB standings there. But with that, I want to get to a little bit of the Fresh on the Farm report here. Fresh on the Farm, we have a lot of good stuff coming out of the minor league ranks right now, starting with the Nashville Sounds, 4-5 right now on this young season. And I just wanted to look at a couple of their key guys right now. Francisco Mejia, you guys might remember him. We recently signed him catching down there. He started out already hot, 429 is Francisco Mejia. Chavez, young left fielder, he's batting 364. Brewer Hicklin is hitting 357 down there. Eric Hayes hitting 273. Tyler Black, he started at 250. Joey Wiemer's hitting 229 right now. Owen Miller at 226. So that's the big stuff coming out of Nashville right now. Home run-wise, Joey Wiemer does have a home run early on here in this season, and he does have 4 RBIs. OPS-wise, Joey Wiemer is sitting at 712. Isaac Collins actually at the top there with 1,103. So good stuff there. Good stuff out of the Nashville Sounds right now. But getting on to the Biloxi Shuckers, they're sitting at 2-1 right now to start out this young season. They just opened up with a 3-game set. And coming out of that 3-game set, we've seen some of the better prospects getting a hold of the baseball here to start it out. Eric Brown Jr., he's hitting 157, but if you watch some of the video coming out of their first couple games there, playing well at short there defensively, and he had a couple of RBIs there for the Shuckers down there. So good stuff for Eric Brown. Brock Wilkins starting down there, 154 on this young season. And then also Wes Clark has not played yet for the Shuckers. So good stuff there coming out of the Shuckers in opening weekend. Freddie Zamora does have a home run there to start out the year. Ernesto Martinez Jr. leads the Shuckers with 3 RBIs on this young season here. So good stuff there coming out of the Shuckers. Kind of cold start for the Shuckers down there, hitting the baseball, but they've been playing well, 2-1 on this young season. The Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, they've started out well here. Looking at them, they're 2-1 on this young season, and they're starting out hot. Matthew Woods, 600. Jesus Chirnos, 500. Mike Bovey, got him about the same time as we got Brock Wilkin. He's sitting down there 455 right now. Dylan O'Ray, another good prospect, 300. Yadier Arminio, 273. Luis Lara, starting out down there, 154 for the Timber Rattlers. Home run-wise, nothing to report in the power department. RBIs, Yadier Arminio's got 3 of them. So does Dylan O'Ray on this young season here. And then looking at hit leaders, we have Mike Bovey leading them in hits down there with 5 hits already on this young season in a 3-game set. So good stuff there out of the Timber Rattlers. And last but not least, we have the Carolina Mudcats starting out at 3-0. A good start for Carolina Mudcats. And they've been hitting the baseball down there. Great prospect, Cooper Pratt, recently drafted last season there, 364 down there at the moment. We also saw Yafri Rodriguez. He's batting a good 286 right now for the Brewers down there, or for the Mudcats down there. Also in other stats, down on for the Shuckers, I keep messing it up there. For the Mudcats right now, they are sitting, through those first 3 games, runs scored to runs allowed, they're +9 in that run differential right now. So good stuff there out of this Mudcat team. But with that, good stuff coming out of the baseball side of it. The farm report there, a lot of good prospects for the Brewers just getting going here, and can't wait to watch how this season goes for a lot of top prospects, not just in the Brewers, but could be potentially in the league at some point there. So good stuff there with the Brewers. Moving on here, we got to look at the Bucks, who, I mean, I don't know. I didn't want to get too much into the Bucks here. I didn't want to get too much into the Bucks, and I didn't want to be talking about this coming out of the weekend here. Bucks have dropped 4 straight. This is a bad time to get cold, simply because you got the Boston Celtics on the flip side of this, and then you have the Orlando Magic twice and OKC yet on the docket. So 4 straight losses for this Bucks team, and to wrap it all up, they lost this game to the Knicks there, and that was a 122-109 finish. Lost Chris Middleton before the half in this one. Didn't help matters, right? But man, oh man, what is it going to take? What is it going to take for this Bucks team to be able to find a win? I mean, at this point, it's finding one, right? I don't know if you're just going to win a game. I think you just have to find one. It comes down to effort for me with this Bucks team. Lack of effort. I mean, lack of understanding. One-on-one basketball irritates the crap out of me. It does. I don't know how many times I have to watch Giannis dribble down and try to take on 4 defenders at once by himself. I don't know how many times I have to watch that and turn the basketball over before we just say to ourselves, man, oh man, just pass the basketball. This one here, late, Bucks put on a run, and we saw that crap. We saw it late in this game, and it led to turnover, fast break going the other way. What's it going to take? That's my $1 million question right now. Is it really? I mean, is Chris Middleton the key to, I mean, beating even teams like the Raptors and the Wizards and the Grizzlies? Do you have to have the big 3 to win those games? Because what happens if you get in a playoff series and somebody gets into foul trouble? What if you get into a playoff series and Chris Middleton gets hurt? I mean, right now he's prone to get hurt. He just got whacked in the face and he was out for the rest of the game there. So, I mean, what's it going to take for this Bucks team to get over the hump? I don't know. I chalk it up to lack of effort, lack of getting after it. I mean, one-on-one basketball, not having a clue what's going on and trying to force an issue. Trying to force it. I mean, this is a good Bucks team. If you're a good team, right, you shouldn't have to force it. It should just be one of those things where you can just let the game kind of slowly come to you, right? And this Bucks team isn't. They're forcing it. Giannis is forcing it. You look at this game, Bucks turnovers. What they have, 14 turnovers in this game? I mean, that doesn't, when you play fast, it doesn't seem like a crazy amount. But man, 14 turnovers will kill you. And then you look at shooting percentage, 35 for 75 from the field in this one, 12 for 34 from downtown. The free throw line is what kept the Bucks in this game, 27 for 32 from the free throw line. That's what kept them in it. I mean, look, Dame Wade to the free throw line, 14 of 15. Giannis, 8 for 11. You look at the Knicks shooting free throws, 18 for 22. They didn't shoot the basketball that much better, 45 for 92 on the game there. A lot more shots for the Knicks, but a lot of costly turnovers. A lot of costly turnovers for the Bucks in this one. And man, oh man, they got to show us something here, right? I mean, I listen to a lot of other shows, and I mean, not ESPN or any of that, because they don't like the Bucks right now. But I listen to a lot of other Wisconsin shows, right? And outside of, I don't know, maybe like the Bill Michaels show, because Bill Michaels, big man, or the big unit, right, in Wisconsin here, and listening to him talk is like, yes, like this is completely it. Like, he keeps it real, right? I love when they keep it real. I dislike when we get into these talks where we get this. I want to be optimistic, right? You want to be optimistic. I believe this Bucks team has the talent to be able to turn it around. What I'm saying is that I get into these, listening to these people talk, and it's like the optimistic look, like, oh yeah, well, Brooke isn't playing that bad, and, they're not playing that bad. They're just, the playoffs aren't here, and when the playoffs come, then we can turn it all on. No, I get sick of hearing that. I get sick of even people talking about it on their own shows, making up excuses for this Bucks team. Because if you look outside of people, outside of the Bucks fan club, basically, and you look at the people who want to keep it real when they're watching the game, you listen to the ESPN guys, you listen to the NBA guys on there, you listen to guys on NBA TV, you listen to the commentators for the Bucks, and you can hear it in their voice. You can hear it when they're talking about it, and they're basically saying like, man, oh man, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this team right now. And that's when you know there's a problem. Yet you listen to people talking, it's like, man, there isn't a problem. We're fine. We're fine right now. You know, we'll turn it on in the playoffs and it'll be okay. I don't think so. I don't think so. Is it Doc? Did Doc break this team down completely? Because I got to say, if you thought Adrian Griffin was that bad of a coach, Doc Rivers has lost more games than Adrian Griffin did. Adrian Griffin played twice the games. Like, that's the big thing you got to look at when you look at the two records there. If anything, we would have been better off with the interim head coach the rest of the year. Now, you can blame it on the fact that you try to throw a head coach in midway through. That doesn't help at all. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to reach out on Facebook, try to get more people's opinions on this one, and then kind of see where people are at right now, because I am lost with the Bucks right now. I don't know what to say. It's like all out of sorts, effort, everything is out of sorts with this Bucks team. So, I mean, you got the Celtics coming up. We got to see something good. Coming out of that game against Celtics. I don't care if it's a win or a loss. We got to see something good coming out of that game. So with that, that's about all I got for today. I got more I wanted to get into, but we're running out of time here, so I'll get more into some of the stuff coming out of the weekend there. I want to get into the Indoor Football League, talk about that a little bit. So lots more to talk about this week here, but we'll get into that tomorrow here on the show. But with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. But until then, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.